Council, a sports debate show from the WDBK Sports Department where the debate rages on, hot takes, discussion, and more. Here is the WDBK Sports Council.
And welcome to 91.5 WDBK for the Sports Council. Today, I am the Sports Council. Yes, it's just me all by myself. I'm so lonesome tonight. Yeah, all of that. Yes, this is me, Vincent Focht, here for the Sports Council, here for your 1 o'clock hour. Of course, we may have some other peeps pop in throughout the show, but as of right now, it is me and me only. I feel so lonely again. I need some friends. But yes, last night, of course, you already know what I'm going to be starting with, okay, with the Unk Bowls, what a lot of people like to call it, but I won't call it that. I call it an incredible game between two of my last childhood quarterbacks. But before we get into that game, of course, that last night, Thursday Night Football with the Steelers and the Bengals, I got to say, make sure to text into the show with the WDBK text line, 856-345-9325. Once again, 856-345-9325. If you want to text in and be a part of the conversation, remember, if you text in, leave your name and where you're calling in from. That way we can have our listeners, we'll advertise for our listeners a little bit. We know that you guys have a lot of good knowledge that we can display, of course, over our radio waves. So make sure to text into the show. But of course, yes, you already know, I got to go off of what happened last night. And again, something that I was so absolutely happy to see with two of, yes, my last remaining childhood quarterbacks, both in their 40s. I mean, this is something, absolutely, I was so happy to see. And it wasn't like it was a bad game. No, both of these guys threw for over 200 yards. Flacco specifically over 300 yards. I mean, one heck of a game they both were on. Flacco specifically, I mean, we all know what's been going on with Flacco. He's been all over the place in these past years, right? With the Jets, with the Colts. I mean, just everywhere. With the Browns, with the Bengals. Well, he actually was originally with the Browns. Then he went to it was with the Colts, Jets. Then he went back to the Browns. Now he's with the Bengals. So, been all over the place. First game with the Bengals was an absolute beauty. Of course, in Cincinnati, they were doing the whiteout last night. But really, absolutely crazy. And this is something where, again, you have two 40-year-old quarterbacks going up against each other head-to-head. I'm trying to remember the last time that happened, because I know it may have been the first time it actually happened. If I can remember correctly, I'm trying to get the information right now for it, because I'm kind of mad I don't know this information. But yeah, I think that was the only time that this indeed happened. Now, of course, you had Tom Brady and Drew Brees face off in 2020. Of course, that was another end of an era right there. But okay, so I do have the information for me right in front of it. It was not the first time it happened. Yes, Tom Brady and Drew Brees, they were over. I just wanted to confirm that they were over that 40-year mark. 40, or it was either 40 or older was the mark they had to be over. And yes, Tom Brady and Drew Brees were at that area back in 2020. But that historic encounter. So yes, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. So this was the second time in the Super Bowl era that two QBs, 40 or older, went up against each other, of course. So this is, still, what a great outing it was. And of course, yeah, let's get into it. I've talked enough about that they're 40 and older. I don't want to go too much into that, because the more I talk about it, the more I see my childhood start to fade and the darkness. And yeah, it's just, I don't want to go there. But yes, overall, Aaron Rodgers, 23 for 34 for his passing and 4 touchdowns. Now, of course, he did have 2 interceptions, but still an overall QB rating of 110.88. And then, of course, for Joe Flacco, the former Ravens legend, of course, 31 for 47 for his passing, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, QB rating of 115.77. This is overall, I'm just absolutely blown away with there were a couple passes by Joe Flacco that were dropped. Of course, he threw one to Jamar Chase. It was not caught. the expression on Flacco's face was absolutely hilarious. It was I was watching it. I'm looking like, he's not supposed to drop passes. What's his problem? But oh my God, it overall, it was something quite incredible to see. And I mean, just to see his reaction to it was just hilarious. He was looking at it, oh, you're supposed to catch the ball every single time. You're Jamar Chase. What the heck? But of course, Jamar Chase had a heck of a game too. 16 receptions, 161 yards with a long of 18. He had a touchdown. Noah Fant had a touchdown as well, and T. Higgins had a touchdown at that. But of course, like I said, I had no friends on the Sports Council. Well, now I'm joined by one of our other big-time voices here on 91.5. I'll hand it over to you. Of course, you know what we're talking about, some call the Unk Bowl. I don't like to call it that because I see my childhood fading away. I sound like I'm crying. I don't want to sound like a baby boomer. Not yet. But your overall reactions to last night's game, wow.
I fell asleep for half the game, but I seen clips on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole Jamar Chase rapping and Flacco just
that's the thing. He's like, you're supposed to catch it every single time. What? Like you just see, he was like he just couldn't believe it. You're automatic. You're supposed to catch the ball every dang time. No room for mistakes. But yeah, crazy. Did you see any of the clips where he was able? How fast he was able to get the ball out of the pocket? He was throwing darts in a lot of situations, which Flacco. In the past, we've seen him throw darts, and we also seen him kind of come off his rocker at times and just throw these floaters to sometimes the opposing team. But this is something where he seemed on. And, overall, now, don't get me wrong, of course, the defense came up with some key stops in certain situations. But the offense was thriving yesterday. It seemed like a guy who was able to really be the leader of that offense. And, of course, he just joined the team, and yet he was able to have such an incredible game. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers had his moments as well. Yeah, of course, he had 2 interceptions, but this was something where I heard from a lot of people.
Almost.
Oh, yeah, almost. Yeah, you're right. Almost.
Dropped one.
Yeah. So it was very close to being, triplet there. But this is something where, of course, when you look at that game, and overall, a lot of people were saying, and I know Steelers fans would probably be the first to say this, our defense stunk. Our defense was the reason. There were many times that we could have had them right where we wanted them, and they came up short. Yeah, a lot of Steelers fans woke up to a lot of them ranting. I had one text me saying, yeah, I know why we lost the game. I know why we lost. Our defense is trash. I heard a lot of that. But still crazy. Any final thoughts on that game? Because we're going to move into a team that is green, black, and silver coming up in a little bit. But any final thoughts on this past Thursday Night Football?
I think the Browns... The trade with Joe Flacco 2 weeks ago with the Browns, him to go to the Browns trading him to the Bengals. Everybody's saying they're helping the Bengals. I hear that I saw that on the comments on Instagram, and I got notifications from CBS, stuff like that, saying they're helping the Bengals out. First game, you only 4 days to learn that.
Well, that's the thing, to learn the plays and everything.
Didn't do good. I believe that was against...
I remember when that trade happened, actually. That's a good question.
It was 4 days before the game. I know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because overall, I know it's okay. So it happens on October 7th. Is when this occurred. So yeah, you're right, around almost a couple weeks ago or so. But still, this is something where the fact he was able to learn the plays as quick as possible, and of course, you knew the situation that the Bengals were in. Of course, things were not working out when Burrow went down. This was the last thing that Cincinnati needed to see, and of course, we know kind of how that history is going with Burrow. He's been hurt many times by the injury bug, and this is something where this injury. Specifically has them out for the majority of the season. So this is something, when you look at it, the Bengals were kind of scrambling because they have the talent to go somewhere. But the only problem was it's constantly, they're always getting bit by something. Of course, that wasn't the first game that Flacco played. He played, of course, against the Packers. That was the opening game that he had. It It was okay. He had 219 yards for 2 touchdowns against Green Bay. His QB rating was 93.99. He was 29 for 45, struggled to get the ball out of the pocket at certain times. And that was kind of the game where I want to say he was getting everything under his belt. I mean, Green Bay with the defense that they have, that was something where it's kind of a big test. You're throwing in you're a QB for the first week against a Green Bay defense that is known to have some big-time fighters on there in terms of getting what they want. But, of course, Jake Browning is what the Bengals had for ever since Burrow got hurt, of course. And he's been a guy that just it wasn't working out, kind of just throwing the ball out there. The last appearance that Browning had, he had 3 interceptions on 40 attempts. 26 of those 40 attempts were actually completed. So this was something where overall it was just he was kind of throwing the ball out there. There was no rhythm with the defense. I mean, you saw in a couple instances the receivers getting a little uneasy with what they were seeing, of course, and the ability to get the ball out of the pocket. Now, this is something where overall Cincinnati, well, they weren't feeling it. So like what happened? They were in a scramble situation. We need a guy right now. And of course, you were heading in at the time. It was week 5. You're getting into more of a groove of the season. Where are you just going to pick up a QB randomly that can help get you? Well, whoa, look at this. There's Joe Flacco again. He was with the Jets, the Colts, the Browns, then went back to the Browns. Now
he was an Eagle for a year, I believe.
Huh?
He was an Eagle for a little bit.
Oh, I keep forgetting that. For the preseason. Yeah, he was an Eagle. I keep forgetting about that. He was an Eagle. Yes, that is true. But that's the thing. It's been all over the place. I wonder when we could find a QB that we could just pick up. Oh, look at this. It's Joe Flacco. And, yes, the Bengals got him. And now, of course, last week was kind of, again, like we were saying, you got to get all the plays under your belt. And especially with a QB, this is something where, yeah, every other position needs to learn the plays, obviously. But a QB specifically, you are the leader and you are you are the QB. You decide how the offense runs. You can change the play, whatnot. You need to get that under your belt. For the fact that he was able to do what he did in just his second week of play, I mean, this is something where you got to give credit to where it's deserved. It's only his second week of play with the Bengals. It never played with any of these guys before. This is something where the ability and the morale that he was able to build in just a short time here in just 2 short weeks and be able to do that, I'll give him credit.
I mean, he does have the best wide receiver duo in the league.
Well, that's the thing. He's utilizing his weapons. He's utilizing what he has, and that's the thing is, yes, he has the best. I mean, again, Jamar Chase. I mean, this is something where he was able to find him multiple times last night. I mean, again, I said the stats that don't lie. Like this is something he was able to find him on the field. 161 yards Jamar had for 16 receptions. He was able to find him quite a good amount of time. So, hey, more kudos to him. But of course, now we'll switch gears. My man's got his Eagles jersey on. Of course, what's that? Jason Kelce. Yeah, that's the type of vibe that this offense needs, is that Jason Kelce type of vibe. Yeah, we are going into, I can't believe it already, Week 7 is here, going up against the Minnesota, and not just the Minnesota Vikings, a familiar face that is known in the Delaware Valley and in Philadelphia, Wentz. Of course, Carson Wentz was asked about is there any difference, any different reaction going up against Philly this week? No. that was the overall answer. No, not really. So this is something, well, yes, going up against Carson Wentz, of course, this will be in Minneapolis, right? In Minnesota. Vikings right now are kind of a team bouncing all over the place, right? They're 3-2 at the point in time. The Vikings, of course, I want to kind of say are trying to find their identity, right? They're coming off of a bye week. This is going to be something where can the Eagles hold up against the Skull Chance, right? This is something where if the Eagles, this is something where the Eagles, if they lose, they take themselves out of the play. The only way I see the Eagles losing this game is if they do it to themselves. And that's something that they've done, let me think, these past 2 weeks. So your overall prediction, your overall reaction to this upcoming game, 1:00 on Sunday?
It's going to be a close game. I hate to say it. I think Philly will win, but by not much. I think 5 points.
You think 5 points. So you think it's going to be another one of those games where you see the offense for a specific half? Because recently, these past 2 weeks, they've showed up in the first half, but then have not in the second half. And then you go back a couple more weeks, and it was the opposite. They didn't show up in the first half; they showed up in the second half. So you see it kind of being one of those situations where the offense only plays one half of football. They're either down at halftime or they're either up at halftime, and then the second half it's kind of like a fight for their life situation. Yeah. That's what you say. Okay. So another question is the way this offense has been playing, right, with how Kevin Patullo has been calling it. Do you have, and this I'll ask this for our listeners too, for the listeners here currently, you utilize our WDBK text line after these past 2 weeks, and heck, the whole season, right? Every game they've played so far this season leading up to week 7. Do you still have the confidence in this offense and in Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, that they'll be able to turn the ship around? Again, utilize our WDBK text line. I want to hear from you, the listeners. What do you guys think? Do you still have the confidence, or do you not have the confidence? And, of course, I'll ask you, Blake, right, the same question. Do you have the confidence in the way this offense has been called and the way they've been performing?
I mean, this happened last year again. Jordan Mailata and Lane went to Kellen, to talk about the offense. It was stale. It was terrible. They just completely switches into, like, the best offense in the league. It could happen with Kevin. Could. Or it just stays the same for like
right
10 weeks.
I hope not. I hope that. No, I've been doing my best because I know a lot of folks have been going immediately to the Brian Johnson situation. Here we go
Brian
again.
Johnson made it hurts looking at you.
Yeah. So this is that, and we're kind of at that leeway. Bringing up, and I've been bringing it up for this whole season so far. You look at worse last year at the beginning of the season than they did this year, whether you like it or not. A lot of people are making it sound like this year has been worse, but you look at the games that happened last year when they got to that week 5 bye week. They were 2-2. Similar situation. They got ran over by Buccaneers. This is something that's going to determine if they are a really good football team. How can you bounce back after getting completely run over? And especially this one. This is even worse than last year. The Buccaneers, I mean, they were competitive. They were competitive. Yeah. There we go. I sound like I'm learning English for the first time. Maybe I am. But they were competitive. That's a little different. Yeah, they got ran over, and it was in Tampa. Yeah, we get that. But the Giants. Now, yes, this Giants is a young team. Right, they had the rookie duo out there that was going absolutely crazy, running all over the field, right? We saw that with the QB and running back duo for the Giants absolutely taking it to the Eagles. We saw that, of course, Scadaboo and Dart were going nuts, right? But this is something where it's the Giants still. It's a rebuilding team. They're a young team. They caught the Eagles by surprise. Absolutely. The Eagles now, at the beginning of that game, and I'm sure you probably thought this. I thought this as well. Remember those few run plays we saw Barkley carry the ball a good amount? We probably
2 runs he had more in the Broncos game.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, like the start of the Giants game, he had 2 great runs. Everyone was like, oh, the Eagles, they're going to run right over him. I mean, the way that they're going on this drive, well, what happened? That drive died.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much when I saw that happen. When I saw them go down the field, Barkley was running well. They get to around the 30 or so, and all of a sudden the drive started to die. I was like, I hope this is not what I think it is, but I have a feeling they're going to blow this game. So I'm like, we're not doing this again where we have such a great drive and they can't come up with nothing. That's exactly how the beginning of last year went. That's how 2 years ago, how that was going as well. I was getting those vibes. I'm like, I'm not going to go out the way and say it yet, but I have a feeling they may blow this game. And things just continued to go south more and more and more. So, again, yeah, with the offense, I mean, it's going to be key. I mean, again, with an offensive coordinator, they're not just calling the play for the specific moment. They're calling the play to set up opportunities down the line. That play call in that moment is to set up something, who knows, a lot later in the drive, in a couple of the next drives, and a couple of the next series. It's not just about that specific moment that offensive coordinator is calling plays for. It's to set up opportunities, many drives into the game. What I see from Kevin Patullo is his game plan seems to be very, very direct in a specific moment. It's not about developing the game. It's about he's kind of going all over his playbook right now, trying to search for it, overthinking plays, and the next thing you know, what they're sent out with is what they're sent out with. And then, like on the 3rd and long situation, some of his play calls in the 3rd and long situation had me scratching my head and trying to remember if I'm actually on planet Earth or not. This is, I don't know. Your overall reaction to it. Of course, the offense isn't the only problems, but before we move into the defense, your final reactions on the offense.
It's Kevin. Kimatulo. I feel like he needs to improve. He needs to do actual play calls, not just sit there and like, let's go I formation, let's run Saquon right for the middle, and you lose 2 yards.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's like that. That's where I go back on that 3rd and long situation where it's 3rd and 15, and we give it to Saquon Barkley, and they have about the opposing team has about 3 different spies on Saquon Barkley, but they run it anyway. They clog the box up, they stack the box, and then they run Barkley in. So I don't know. It's just a offense that, in my opinion, is so dang easy to read. At the end of the day, I really don't know what else to say. Now, of course, moving on in the transition, you already know we're going to talk about the defense, but we're going to go to a quick break first. We'll be back with more action here on 91.5 WDBK. We've talked about the offensive side of the ball for the Birds, but now we'll kind of move into the defenses. There's a lot to talk about in the defense, a lot of ranting that we got to do, specifically the secondary. You can probably hint to where I'm going with that, but we'll be right back. Matter of moments on 91.5 WDBK.
Did you know about the TRIO Student Support Services Program? The federally funded TRIO program is designed to enable low-income college students, first-generation college students, and students with a documented disability to stay in college until they earn their degree or transfer to a four-year institution. The Student Support Services Program at Camden County College will assist students with basic college requirements, provide opportunities for academic development, and motivate students towards the successful completion of their associate's degree or transfer to a four-year college. Student Support Services will provide academic and career advisement, tutoring assistance, completion of financial aid forms, and much more. Contact TRIO at 856-968-1335. You can also email them at studentsupport@camdencc.edu. The location to find out more information about this program is on Camden County College's Camden campus, located on the second floor of College Hall. The TRIO Student Support Services Program, where the students are destined for success.
Camden County College Tutoring Services. We are here to help you succeed. Do you want a little extra support to boost your confidence and grades? Camden County College is here for you. Our tutoring services offer personalized guidelines to help you master your coursework, achieve your goals, and stay on track to graduate. Find us on the second floor of Wolverton Library at our Blackwood campus and in the Student Learning Center on our Camden campus. We also offer remote and limited online tutoring options for flexible support wherever you are. Our dedicated tutors are here to empower you every step of the way. Don't hesitate. Reach out and let's achieve your best together.
And welcome back to 91.5 WDBK. For the Sports Council, you already know we are jumping for joy that the Sports Council's back. We may not be jumping for joy with how the Eagles have been playing recently. Hopefully we can start doing that again this weekend. We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully this song prepares us for good vibes. So yes, welcome back to 91.5 WDBK for the Sports Council. Vincent Fush along with
Blake Connect.
And yeah, we just did a good amount of covering, of course, on the Eagles offense. But of course, we were discussing before we get into the defense, and we came up with a couple of good points. Me and Blake here talking in the break, and we were talking about how plays seem to be forced with the offense. Of course, Blake, you were saying play action. I'll give it to you on that. You came up with that. Explain, your situation there.
Aaron Rodgers does play action amazingly. Faking it to the running back, thinking that it's a running back, then give it to a receiver or a tight end. Like the play action can help this team a lot because Hurts can throw, and people are trying to stop Saquon, not the pass right now.
Right. And we were saying, over the break, of course, last year the Eagles ran an offense where it was pretty much, it was kind of simple when you look at it. You're going to stop us on the run. I mean, that Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl explained it perfectly, and why I go up against these people that say Hurts can't throw and Hurts isn't the top 10 quarterback in the league. The reason I say it, I mean, that Super Bowl last year proved everything you need to know. That postseason last year proved everything you need to know. The way the offenses ran last year, if you're going to stop our run, we're going to kill you with the pass. If you're going to stop our pass game, we're going to kill you with the run. And even though you're trying to stop our run game and we're killing you with the pass, who knows? The run game could pop up and we could run it down your throat and you just won't be ready for it. So the offense was so unpredictable last year. Now, of course, at the beginning of the season, it wasn't, but they adjusted. Like you were saying, I mean, you had the offensive lineman go to Kellen Moore last year and say, hey, this is just not cutting it. We got to come on. I mean, the way that it's not a smooth offense, it's too much of a forced type of offense. We're forcing things. It's not working. And that's what we're seeing now is it's just this offense doesn't have a rhythm. They're forcing it so much. And, of course, what happens when you force things? Well, picks happen. And what did we see last game? Jalen Hurts, yes, folks, this is true, had his first red zone interception thrown in his entire career last week. Of course, it was returned down to the 23-yard line right by the Giants on that pickoff, which that took all the wind out of him right there, period. So this is something where we're saying the plays are being forced way too much. And it's something where, of course, the drama doesn't help, right? The drama with A.J. Brown, what was happening through the past weeks of him going out on X saying his displeasure. And then, of course, after a previous game being asked if they had a talk between, originally it was Barkley, Brown,
A.J. and
Hurts. He denied it. I don't remember that. So it's just the unnecessary drama and does not help. It just helps add to the horror of the situation that is going on in your offensive room. Not great. Not great at all. Hopefully the Eagles can kind of surround, get that team morale back up again in the locker room. Again, we're not in the locker room, so we can't really judge on this. The media, a lot of media tries to guess and think what's going on in the locker room and come up with their own conclusions. I don't like to talk like that because you don't know what goes on behind the doors. You're basically saying a bunch of things you don't know if you're saying, oh, this is what's going on in the locker room. No, absolutely not. I'm not even going to speak on that because we don't know. It's none of our right to know, basically. But moving along, and of course, to the Eagles' defense. Now, of course, yes, the offense was not great, but the defense, usually what happens? The Eagles' defense is known to bail them out in these situations. Didn't happen last week. And, of course, the injury bug did not help.
Tired as well. I mean, they just came from Tampa 4 days before that.
Well, that's your Thursday Night Football for you.
And they just looked tired. They looked like they weren't there.
Yeah.
Like you just basically played in 100-something degrees for basically over an hour because the offense couldn't really get you guys a break.
No breaks. Yeah.
And you just tired out. I think the defense is gonna do amazing Sunday. It had a 10-day break. They're healthy. Keanu Mitchell's looking like he's gonna play. Yep. Jalen Carter looks he's gonna play. Just the big loss is Darius Smith retiring.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Now you're already hurt with Nolan Smith. So now you're kind of in one of those situations where, all right, Howie, time to do your magic now, please.
Trey Henderson, Myles Garrett.
Yeah. These are guys that, I mean, there's availability out there. Now, of course, the most recent injury report that we have, of course, is the Thursday injury report. Here's what stands. Grant Calcaterra, of course, the backup, we all know tight end in that situation. It was listed on DNP, did not participate. Now, of course, here's where we stand with the rest. Jalen Carter, heel injury. Did participate, but he was on LP, limited participation. Landon Dickerson, with his ankle injury, was listed on limited participation. Zach Bond had a little thumb injury, full participation. He was fine. Jordan Davis, shoulder issue, listed on full participation. Fine. Quinyon Mitchell with the hamstring, listed on full participation for yesterday's practice. Of course, there will be another injury report as they practice today. That will come out. And, of course, I don't know when that will come out. It'll probably come out, with our luck, right after the dang show.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? But still, that's good news. And I mean, we saw what happened, of course, last game, right, with, of course, Quinyon Mitchell being hurt. We already know. Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson were in there pretty much giving everyone an absolute heart attack because of the amount of rage that they were basically causing for Eagles fans. that was not great. These guys were not. This is the situation where these guys were getting cooked in preseason against backup wide receivers. Now, the situation that you currently stand in now, of course, people were saying, well, you have Jacorian Bennett. Where's Jacorian Bennett? He's still hurt.
Yeah.
Bennett is still hurt. So at this point in time, you're in an emergency situation. This is where I always go back to this, and I'll constantly go back to it. Getting rid of Isaiah Rodgers last year, as good as Howie Roseman has been in these offseason, that was a absolutely ridiculous move.
And he's only being paid like $7 million a year.
That's the thing. It wasn't like he was asking for millions and like $100-something million contract. The guy wasn't asking. Now, I'm not saying he's the best thing in the world. Not going off and saying
Kelly Ringo.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not saying he's another Q. But what we have now with these middle school quarterbacks, I'm not even going to insult high school at this rate. This is the disgrace.
The pre-K.
Pre-K. Yeah, there we go. We'll give the pre-K. Yeah, there we go. We'll not even insult middle schoolers at this point. The ability for these guys to not stick with their man. Keely Ringo, a guy who was supposed to have all of this speed, was beaten out by Zach Baun a couple of times, a linebacker. There were times where Baun was on Keely Ringo's guy more than Ringo was on his own guy. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's something where, the fact that these guys made it in the NFL is ridiculous. And, of course, Ringo was interviewed after the game. He's like, well, we're here for a reason. Well,
what reason?
You're here because our GM, for some reason, decided that the quarterback room was okay.
Keely Ringo, he's so young. It just, I don't think he's good.
No,
how he wanted to trust him, you can tell. Just Dory Jackson sucks. I really like the Corny bet in the offseason. I really like that pickup.
Yeah, that was a good pick,
wanted Bet to start over Dory, and he did for a game.
Yeah,
for a little bit, and he did fine.
Yeah, the preseason he actually had some good play. Now, were there some catches he allowed? Yes, but the thing I noticed when he allowed a catch, he was on the guy like that. Yeah. The guy was not. Coop. Yeah. Well, that was another thing that was possibly a thought. Now, of course, a lot of people were saying, well, okay, you're in a tough situation at the time. We didn't know what Quinyon Mitchell's injury was going to look like spanning out. Now, of course, now he's on full participation, thank God. But back, of course, last week, we didn't know what that situation was going to develop as. And a lot of people were saying, okay, well, what are you going to do now? You have one hurt. Jacorian Bennett's also hurt. Now, a lot of people were saying possibly could you maneuver Cooper DeJean in that position? Could you kind of change that up? And when you look at it, Vic Fangio has his game set. He's not going to do moves like that in a middle of a game. Vic Fangio has his game plan. He's not going to. It's a lot to handle. You're moving guys around like that, and especially in different positions. I get you're in that secondary area still, but he's not going to go doing moves like that in the dead center of a game. It's just not going to happen. But that was something that a lot of people were thinking. Now, of course, Cooper was playing the nickelback position for that game, and this was something where pretty much your safeties were all that you had in that secondary area because you knew that your cornerbacks were not going to fulfill their needs, right? And we saw a couple times, like I said, there were times where the dang linebacker was on the wide receivers better than Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson. So it was just, that's basically all that needs to be said. Now, of course, in terms of EPA, the Eagles came into this game with an expected points added, which is what EPA stands for, of course, .05. Now, at the time, that was tied for 9th in the league. So this is what the Eagles defense entered the game into. But still, it's just how things really developed wasn't great. And, of course, we saw Jackson Dart use his running ability last week, and there was a time for the first touchdown of the game when Zach Baun was the spy. Now, of course, in that situation, for a linebacker, with the amount of space that was in between Jackson Dart and Zach Baun, it was nuts. Because the offensive line for the Giants and the defensive line for the Eagles parted ways. And if you look at that picture, I wish I could show it right now on the console, but that picture had Dart staring at Baun. They were about 5 yards apart or so. that's a lot of space. And a lot of time, I mean, knowing Jackson Dart, he can, duke out pretty much. He's a great runner. I'll give him that. He's a great, talented runner. Why the Giants probably have him as well. Great quarterback, great throwing ability, great runner. For a linebacker to line that up perfectly with the amount of space on a one-on-one situation, people don't realize how hard that was. Now, of course, yes, he got juked out, knowing Zach Bond. He's a Pro Bowler. He's supposed to come up with a tackle in that situation. That's the expectation. He's a Pro Bowler. This is his job. He was able to do it many times last year. Well, again, the amount of space he had in that situation was a one-on-one area. The end zone was right behind Bond. It wasn't a lot of space. So, again, it's a very, very tough area to look at. Of course, Bond was the spy in that area, and that was that 20-yard touchdown on the opening drive for New York. So, not great. And, of course, you also had the Giants bringing and elevating guys like little Jordan Humphrey, who had a great size advantage to our middle school linebackers, our pre-K. Sorry, we Blake said that earlier. Our pre-K cornerbacks, of course, Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson. Yeah, he towered over these guys. Humphrey was able to gain 34 yards against Ringo on a 3rd and 12 throw that set up Dart's scrambling score that I was just talking about. So this is something where, he towered over these guys. They had no answers, and practically not just there. They had no answers the entire game. Of course, even the defensive line. I get there's injuries that were going around, but still couldn't stop Cam Scadaboo at all. He was able to have an absolutely dominant performance, almost just 2 yards short of 100 yards. He had 98 rushing yards. Nuts. So I've yapped enough. Blake, your overall thoughts, of course, on how the secondary has performed, how the defensive line, how disappointing that has been this year as well. Your thoughts, and of course, you expect the defense to be back on track this week. You're going up against a Minnesota team that, has been kind of iffy on that offensive side. Yeah. Your overall reaction?
Jalen Carter has said he will play Sunday. He said that. Mm-hmm. So Jalen Carter is a huge boost for that D-line.
Absolutely.
So they have someone doubling him, and Ty Robinson, maybe Jordan Davis, maybe the other dude, Ajomo might get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And Wentz is old, so maybe they get to Wentz a couple of times. But it's the edge rusher position that's terrible. Yeah. And that corner next to Q is also terrible.
Yeah.
I wish they can make a trade right now. I wish they did this week.
Right.
It's too late to make a trade. Especially, the game's 2 days away.
You can't, yeah.
I would love an edge rusher. But I've been hearing that with Nakobe being back in, they have plays that Jahad Campbell going to edge. And Nakobe plays next to Zach Bond.
Yeah.
And they will switch that out like Jahad Campbell goes for the edge, and Nakobe plays linebacker next year.
Right. Well, that's another thing, is getting Nakobe back. And this is something where, again, why that Jahad Campbell pickup in this past draft was so gosh dang important was because of his ability to fluctuate in those different positions. And this is something where, again, if that key situation right now ever came up, or he'd be able to maneuver to that position and play that edge area. Now, of course, during the preseason, the Eagles did that. They tried him out in the different positions. Like I think it was, I'm forgetting what game in the preseason it was, but there was a time he was in the linebacker position. Then I'm watching, it was like the next series, and then all of a sudden he's up on the line. He's on the edge. So they utilized him. They did that in the preseason, but this is why that pickup was so incredibly important, and why Howie Roseman, after that interview when they first picked him up, they were eyeing him for a good amount of time. It wasn't just like a last-minute decision, like, oh, they picked up our guy, we want Jahad now. No, they were eyeing him up for a while. And if you can do some finagling right there, possibly, that would be pretty good to do. Now, of course, you look at other positions to fulfill, right? Now that looking like Q is going to be back, what are you going to do on the other side of the other side of the mark? And of course, now you get in that tough situation with
Adoree Jackson
Keely Ringo. Now you have that. Now some people are saying, well, move Coop out of the nickel back or move him from the safety into that extra position, and now you can rely more on Sidney Brown. So that is something that I heard. The problem with Sidney Brown is I think he's a good player that has speed, but he lets up in key situations too many times. And Sidney Brown, it's hurt me to say this because Sidney Brown's a guy that I had a lot of confidence in prior seasons. And yes, folks, the injury bug has ruled Sidney Brown's career big time. I think he's a kid that has great speed. We've saw it, a couple of years ago as well with some of the picks that he had. He was able to return one against the Arizona Cardinals 2 years ago to the house. He has great speed, but his ability to read plays and his football IQ, I question sometimes. I really do. I question it sometimes. But he's someone I really wish could step up, but I just haven't liked what I've seen from him so far this year. And then, of course, you have Makuba back there, who, don't get me wrong, he's a talented kid, but he has made the expected rookie mistakes. Yeah. And we saw that last game. He had a missed tackle on Robinson on Thursday night's game, of course, which resulted in a 35-yard touchdown. Of course, Giants Robinson, not Ty Robinson, right? I don't want to go there, right? But, this is something where, he has made rookie mistakes. He's also made the mistake of covering the wrong guy. There were a couple times where I was watching the Giants game, and there was, I think it was either Adoree Jackson and Makuba were covering the same exact guy. Meanwhile, Makuba all of a sudden realized that he had to run pretty much all the way across the field. He got to the guy just in time, but still, it was a blown covered situation. Rookie mistakes are happening. Again, it's expected to happen, but this is where you kind of stand where, last year you lost a big portion of your secondary. You lost guys like, of course, Big Play Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right?
You can come back.
CJ can come back. Of course, he was. Yes, folks. He was released by Houston.
And now the Ravens.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He was. Yeah, that happened. That switch with Houston. It went to Baltimore. Then he got released. That's where he got released. That's right. But he still could come back. But of course, then you're loading up your safety position. I don't know.
I've been hearing he could play nickel.
He could. I feel like that's an area where Howie Roseman, I feel like he would go to him in an emergency situation. Yeah. I feel like that's something where he has it in his pocket. I don't think he's going to go to it.
And secondary-wise, I feel like it's kind of emergency.
Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like if there are no open areas where you can't make a deal, that has to be in the back of your pocket. Now, I don't think that's going to be one of the options he runs to immediately, but it has to still be back there. It still has to be an option back there in that area. If things keep going the way that they're going, I really would be happy to see if Jacorian Bennett could get back. But, at this point in time, it's not looking like it's advancing too much.
They're saying they're saying Nolan Smith and Jacorian Bennett will come back week 9 or 10.
That's what the predict. Okay. Well, I don't know if I can hold out that long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or they could go to a team. Woolen from the Seahawks is
true.
Looks like he's going to get traded. Or my personal favorite corner that's on a really bad team that's really good, Denzel Ward.
Okay. Yeah. So these are all. These are valuable options. This is something where, I hope. They're out there. It's not like they're not. They're out there, and this is, I think this game right here is going to be a big decider on what happens next week. I'm hoping some moves happen. Even if they win, there should still be moves made next week. Don't get me wrong.
Who knows? They could really trade for the massive trade for a really good corner.
They could. I'd really be, because, how many times have we seen Howie Roseman make key moves kind of in that, it's not the middle of the season yet. Close to the middle. It's going to be the middle of the season before you know it, but not yet. How many times have we seen Howie Roseman do that?
A lot, but a lot of them are bad trades.
Yeah. So, we saw some trades for some veterans that didn't necessarily work out in the middle of the season. We saw it a couple years ago. I'm trying to remember. They got, what's his name, from Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans. Huh?
Kevin Byard.
Yeah, that's it. He
wasn't bad. He had 2 really good games. The Chiefs game and the Fighter game he was really good at.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden, as the season maneuvered forward, it started to
wash.
Yeah, that's another thing. So it's like, the last thing I want is to bring some veteran in that I don't know. It's just, it doesn't have that feeling of, I don't know if I'd put it in that feeling of it just pushes them over the mark. Like, it's just what we need to get us to go over that mark. I don't want to go there quite yet, but at the end of the day, if you're in an emergency area, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Howie will do. I'll use this. In Howie we trust, right? In Howie we trust. But we'll just have to see, of course, what happens. And then finally, of course, for the Eagles segment, I want to finalize with Jalen Hurts. Now, of course, there's been people coming out saying that they would like to see Tanner McKee possibly start over Jalen. Blake raised his hand. Explain yourself. I
love Hurts, but if Hurts does bad in the first half, I think they should see if Tanner can play.
Okay.
In the preseason, he's been really, really good. Like, the game against the Cowboys, in the Kelly Green, he was really good.
Yeah.
But it's like, he has some plays he's better than Hurts. I think just reading defense, he's a lot better than Hurts is.
Yeah.
But Hurts is MVP caliber quarterback, yes, but he's not playing like it.
Well, see, that's the thing is some people they're saying he needs that boost. Now, my overall thought, I mean, the ability, like what you brought up, to read defenses, especially the blitz, has been an issue. And this is something where, I mean, Todd Bowles is a guy that knows this very well. Of course, the head coach for Tampa. Why has Tampa Bay been so successful against the Eagles in previous years? That's why.
Hurts.
They know how to react to him. They know how to rush him. They know how to treat him right in that pocket. And that's another thing. Hurts' overall pocket sense is concerning. How many times has he gotten sacked from behind and not known his surroundings? Now, there's many times where he scrambles when I don't think he should scramble. There are many times where I think there's the ability for him to actually step up in the pocket, but yet he runs out of the pocket, and next thing you know, he's scrambling to the side. He's got about 3 defenders in his face. He has to force a throw. It's either a really bad throw or it's out of bounds. Yeah. This is something where Hurts is, we know what he can play like. We've seen what he can play like. His ability to get the ball out of the pocket in a few times is not great. And this is something where, again, I think this is an ill of just bad offensive rhythm. There is no rhythm with how things are called. Now, of course, I don't want to be the type that's going to put everything on Batulo because the coaches can only do so much. The players have to end up performing.
And they're not performing well.
Yeah, with the routes that are ran at times, with the blame that's being all over the place right now, with the drama.
A lot of them a lot of routes I've seen, especially from AJ, that one game against the Broncos, he just gave up on the route. Looked lazy.
Well, exactly.
I mean, there's the Giants game, there is a missed pass on Devontae. That was not on Devontae. It was complete on Hurts. He overthrew
it. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. Yeah, but miscommunications there. And even going back to that Denver game, there was another one that a lot of people don't talk about. There was one with Jahan Dotson. It was a long ball, and there was big-time miscommunication. I don't know who it was on, but Dotson cut out left, Hurts threw to the right. Had the right distance on it, but Dotson went to the left, the throw was to the right. So it's just the communication, the rhythm is not there whatsoever. Now, am I going to go to what you want in terms of playing McKee? I'm not going to go there just yet. Now, here's something where I will go with you on. If it gets to that point where things are not going anywhere, Hurts is, say for example, he's getting caught in the pocket way too many times, the decision is not there. I mean, there are many times where he holds onto the ball for about 3 hours. Finally, he finds the guy down the field. Now, there are situations where there's no one open, and there's also situations where there is a guy open, but it closes quickly. And this is something where his ability to get the ball out of the pocket at a good speed and throw a dart. Now, that's something you notice from Mahomes. And, of course, I don't want to sound like Chris Collingsworth here, Patrick Mahomes. Like, I don't want to go to that standpoint. But you look at Mahomes, he gets back there in the pocket. That ball, boom, it's out.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I can even go to Herbert as well on this. Another one where he's able, the ball is out. I mean, this is something where 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. That ball should be boom, 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 out.
I mean, Tanner does it too. And in the preseason and stuff like that.
Exactly. McKee was another one and did that. Yes, absolutely. So this is where I'll go with you on. The Eagles start out the game, and Hurts is, again, say it's the first half is absolutely awful. Many overthrown balls. Again, the Eagles are known for having one of the best long balls in the league. Has it looked like that this year?
No.
Been a ton of miscommunication on it this year. This is something where, again, if the laterals, I can't stand when they do laterals in certain situations, but if they keep happening, or say there's a guy open downfield, again, many times where it should be 1, 2, 3, the ball should be out of the pocket. There are many times Hurts holds on to it way too long, where people, I always hear the same thing. Well, you got to give it to Hurts. No one was open downfield. Well, there are many times where the play was there. He just got the ball way too late. There are many times he's thrown behind his receivers where basically A.J. Brown, I saw it a couple times, had to reach behind him to get the pass. So that's my concerning area. Do I think Hurts can turn it around and get it done? Absolutely. Yeah. I do. I believe that he has the opportunity to have a really big game right here. I really think so, especially going up against this Minnesota defense. I think there's a possibility.
But there's a huge possibility he doesn't do this. Also.
Yes, there's still that kind of lurking in the shadows that's like ready to strike. So I will go with you on this. If it looks like an absolutely ridiculous, disgraceful first half, I'm with you on saying give McKee a chance, put the other kid in. Because I'm just saying, I mean, this is something where I don't want to be one of those people that's just like going to give up on Hurts immediately. And don't get me wrong, the play calls don't help, right? What is the routes that are ran? I mean, I understand that, but there are many times where with this holding onto the ball for 3 hours, there are guys that are open downfield, but he just doesn't get the ball out of the pocket.
I mean, with McKee, he has not seen the field much.
Right.
So it could be just put him in and he does worse than Hurts.
Yeah.
There's also a chance he plays like prime Tom Brady out there.
I mean, there is a chance that he could really, again, lift expectations in a big way. We'll just have to wait and see what will happen. We'll give our final remarks coming up in a little bit. We're going to go to a quick break here for the Sports Council. We'll be right back again, coming up with our final thoughts. Will the Eagles be able to get back on the winning side of things again? We'll just have to wait and find out. Of course, text into the show, WDBK text line 856-345-9325. Once again, 856-345-9325. Answer this question, right? Do you still have confidence in the Eagles offense to get things back on track once again after these past 2 back-to-back losses? What is your response? Let's hear it. Leave your name, leave where you're texting in from. We want to hear what our listeners think on the Birds. Vincent Fost.
Blake Connect.
Here on 91.5 WDBK. Did you know that Camden County College has a food pantry? Camden County College has food pantries open to assist students in need of food and various supplies. For donations or assistance about the pantries, please contact Associate Dean Tenuto at jtenuto@camdencc.edu for food distribution. The marketplace is stocked with monetary and food donations by our college community. You can donate through the marketplace's Amazon wish list, through the foundation, or by stopping by as well. Please consider donating. Did you know that Camden County College has a volleyball club? Well, if not, you are in for a treat. This gives students the opportunity to build strength, improve cardiovascular health, burn calories, enhance hand-eye coordination, increase flexibility, and social interactions as well, all while having a blast. The volleyball club runs Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. through Monday, December 1st, and is located in the Papiano Gymnasium. Membership applications and physical forms are required, and you can contact the club advisor, Drew Jones-Edwards, for more information at djonesedwards@camdencc.edu, or you can come in person to the office at Papiano Gymnasium Suite 100D. And remember, if you want to get in a workout while having a blast, well, remember, the volleyball club is here for you. And welcome back to 91.5 WDBK. We're back here on the Sports Council. Of course, you hear the beautiful intro music of Paranoid. Yes, well, the way the Eagles are playing, we may be a little paranoid. Who knows? Hopefully we're not paranoid after this. Week 7, Blake's putting his hands together. Oh, man, Blake, I tell you what, I hope it's not what we think is going to happen. I tell you what, I really do. Well, we're back here live on 91.5 for the Sports Council. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us here for this entire 1 o'clock hour. Of course, we'll give our closing thoughts on the Birds. Hopefully they can get back on the winning side of things right. Coming up here Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. in Minneapolis, not in South Philadelphia. They're playing the Vikings finally in Minnesota once again. These past 3 games I've been in Philly. Who knows? I like when it's in Philly. We love it when it's in Philly, right? But, of course, we're going to give our final thoughts. Me and Blake were discussing, of course, during the break on possible if, say, things don't go and don't turn around right with Kevin Patullo, what could possibly be the fill-in for Patullo.
Mike McDaniel.
And I'll go to Blake on this one. Yes, he was saying Mike McDaniel. I'll let you take it away.
If the Dolphins just fire him, he's amazing. He can scheme. He can do all this. He's just not a good head coach. He's a terrible head coach.
Right. So it's like a Frank Reich situation that they had. Head coach, he can't do the head coach, but he can play call.
Or Vic Fangio.
And there you go. Another one. That's another good example, to be completely honest with you. I mean, we were discussing Mike McDaniels. I mean, I was even saying, I heard some people saying it throughout the week, if Doug Peterson came back. Now, of course, we know much of that Super Bowl 52 victory was, of course, Frank Reich's play calling, but Peterson came up with a lot of different clutch play calls. Of course, everyone knows the Philly special was called by Doug Peterson, but not just that, but in many other situations throughout, especially that postseason in 2017-18, right? That was something where there were key play calls by him in these big-time situations, and even in the Super Bowl, again, Philly special, but there were others, and this is something where even with that play with Zach Ertz, remember that final touchdown, which put him ahead, where he leaped into there was like that whole controversy. Is he a runner? Is he not a runner? And he jumped into the end zone, ball popped out, he called it again. And we know what happened. But even that, so this is something where they could all be possibilities. And we were also talking about the history of the Eagles hiring coordinators, not just offense, but defensive coordinators within their organization. Never seems to pan out well. Of course, that 2023 season described it fine. We all know the Brian Johnson era, the Sean Desai era, right, as he was defensive coordinator, and then that whole mess kind of transpired. Matt Patricia came in. That was an even bigger disgrace. So it's just...
I mean, Brian Johnson didn't make Hurts like MVP for like 11 weeks straight.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, but again, they were barely winning games, and that's kind of how this season has felt so far. The games they won, they won them, but it was like a massive heart attack every dang Eagles fan had at the end. I always say a blood pressure medication cup, they should sponsor the Birds because they'd make a ton of money off the fans. We're all half dead by the time the game's over.
Not dude wipes, with the tush push.
There you go. That's the thing. Yeah, you get the tush push. I mean, last week, I have to say it, and I'm not fond of saying this, never thought I would, but last week was probably the first time I was actually somewhat embarrassed by the tush push because they did it 4 damn consecutive times in the red zone. It was like it was first and goal. They were about 4 yards away from the red zone, or from the end zone. I think it was 4 or 5 yards away. They did it 4 consecutive times. Yes, it was successful, but it's like, in that situation, that's all you can come up with? That's all you have in the books?
Like in the Tampa game, they had they faked the Saquon. And
exactly. I want to see that more.
In 2023, they had a fake to what's his name?
2023. I think what was it? Was Sanders on the
Swift?
Oh, Swift. That's right. DeAndre Swift. Yeah, he was an Eagle. Keep forgetting that. The Bears. Bears legend. But yeah, it's just, again, that lack of confidence is what is getting to me. And it's like, again, in that situation, that's the only play. Don't get me wrong, it works. It's great. I don't think it should be banned. I'm still standing on ground with that. But that's the only thing that you have confidence in this offense to do. That's it. Come on.
Not like the little pass to Goddard, you just push it up right to the left.
We've seen that in how many? I mean, we saw it with the Broncos too. How many? They were like little flick passes, and that just barely got away too. Like they were just little flick. Like I was talking to Jared about this, and he was like, what the heck was that? He's like, what in the football gods type of back in a playbook play is that? Like, he was just...
It works.
Well, that's what I was telling him. I'm just like, hey, you're mad because it worked. Like, just stuff like that. So it's fun. It's interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just want to see the confidence and the rhythm get back in this offense once again. The confidence and the rhythm. That's what I'm looking for. Blake, any final thoughts before we finalize the show?
Go Birds!
I'll take it. Go Birds. I'm in agreement with you. We're one here on 91.5.
I think we should do a trade. Definitely. Next week, trade Denzel Ward. Jay Phillips, Trey Henderson, Woolen from Seahawks. Like, we need to upgrade that defense.
Yeah.
The pass rush could really help. Getting Trey Henderson or Jay Phillips could really help that all defense.
Right.
Maybe Kelly Ringo plays better or Dory Jackson plays better because they're having pressure now.
Yeah. Well, We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, our pre-K quarterbacks can turn into middle school.
I think they're 4th and 8th in pressures and hurries.
Wow. Well, you heard it right here, folks. I mean, this is something where the opportunity is still there. And again, with that stat you just said, I mean, it's still possible. It's still possible. We'll just have to wait and see. That's going to be all for us here for the Sports Council 91.5 WDBK. Of course, behind the mic, myself, Vincent Fuchs, along with
Blake Connect.
And again, tune in every single Friday for the Sports Council. And that's going to do it. We'll have to see what the birds give us. Hopefully, we come back Monday happy, right? Not depressed and enraged like we were last week, of course. But that's going to do it for us. The week before. That's right. Thursday Night Football. I don't know where I am right now. It's okay. 91.5 WDBK. Have a good one, folks. God bless.
Live from the WDBK studios in Blackwood, this is 91.5 WDBK-FM, Camden County College Radio.